Doing this, man. How you doing?
You're welcome. Nice to see you.
So you open up this venue, which is going to be historic someday. First show. So tell us your thoughts on last night.
Man, it was great. It's having been done this so long, it takes something special to get the nerves kind of jumping a little bit, and they were last night. So it was good to it was good to feel young and alive again. And like something fresh and brand new and exciting and. With everything going on, it just made it, even more over the top. So, I got to say, just we worked harder putting this show together than I think we've ever worked. I mean, I must have lost 20 years putting this, I guess we'll call it show or possible tour together. So, to have it kind of come together last night, there's always going to be things, obviously, that people don't see that, being a perfectionist, you're always going to say, I wish this was better and we got to fix that. But I think overall people enjoyed themselves, and that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
And you say that a possible tour. What do you mean?
Well, it depends on this fiasco going on about running for office.
Uh-oh, here we go. The office thing. There you go. So that's it, huh? He just smiles. All right, there you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, in the show last night I saw that, normally you kind of do the show, then you split out the back door and you're kind of home and stuff. Last night you hung out for quite a while, and I was back there last night, and Chris and Mrs. Illich came in. What was that conversation like after the first show here?
It was great. Just me and Chris were just sharing a lot of things that he saw, from a different perspective with the building that, we got to fix this and we got to change these lights and, we got to put some curtains here and blah, blah, blah. He's focused on all that, and I'm like, I'm thinking with my show, like, a couple people missed some cues here and we got to redo this and, blah, blah, blah. So we were looking at it from different things, and then we were just talking about how it all came together because I came down very early when it was just, a plan on a piece of paper. Chris invited me down and he said, you've been in a lot of arenas all over the world, we'd love to get your input and document it. So I came down and talked to my production team, Shakes and everybody, and they all gave input. And I talked more about dressing rooms with little things like, hey, put trash cans in the dressing room. Put smoke eaters in there because you're not going to tell, Eddie Van Halen that he can't smoke.
Right,
all right? It's not
right.
going to happen. He's going to smoke, and he's going to say, screw you, I'm leaving, I'm not playing. So just make some artist rooms, which they did. So you don't got to use the sports players' rooms. Just little things like that, with sound and blah, 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 rigging points and trucking points and everything. So we just talked about all that, and it was great hanging with Mrs. I. I've never seen her hang that late before.
That was a late night, man.
Yeah, so it was great having in there. Everybody was real happy, and we just kind of, all – I guess, just stroking each other a little bit on what a good job everybody
I'll
did.
tell you, it was really cool. You talk about the arenas. You have played arenas all over the world. I mean, I was with somebody last night who's a sports marketing guy, and he says this might be the most impressive arena he's ever been in.
It definitely is. I mean, There's no doubt about it in my book. There's hands down. It's definitely the most impressive arena I've ever been in. And they got some crazy, like, O2s and stuff, like in Germany and over in Europe that are pretty wild, but they don't hold a candle to this.
Yeah, this is really cool. And that underground ice rink over there and the locker rooms, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Everything. Yeah. Watching it come together was, just really very humble and honored just to kind of, be on the inside, so to speak.
Now, I don't want to give away too much of the show, but you did a cover last
Don't worry,
night.
the television stations already did.
All right, perhaps.
If someone wants to spoil the show, just Google it.
Well, the internet, right, exactly.
Watch
it's all over the place.
Local news, and you don't even need to come.
Yeah, you got that right. Well, you did a cover last night. I never heard you do before. And this show, as always, as with a lot of your shows, is not only the history of rock, but it's in all intents and purposes, the history of music.
We try to always pay homage to people that came before us, people we look up to, we do a nice thing in the show for kind of our friends and people that we look up to musically that have passed on. There seems to be just so many in the last few years.
Yeah, that seems to get longer and longer.
Yeah, unfortunately. I actually looked that up, and it's pretty shocking. The average age of like a pop star, starting from the 1950s, their average life expectancy is 40 years old.
Wow.
That's pretty insane, so...
Yeah,
I've beat them by 6 years.
Right, exactly. You're on a good roll here.
As I'm knocking on wood.
It was funny because I left the Soundgarden show with maybe like a half hour, 45 minutes left, and my wife wakes me up the next day and she goes, "Why'd you leave the show? You shouldn't have left the show so early." I'm like, "Did Rock show up?" No, Chris Cornell died. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
just
terrible.
That was like the craziest thing. Then Chester and. It's just
it's just so, man, it's just I had a cousin that did the same thing, and I wear his name on my arm, Paul, and it's just very difficult to understand.
Yeah.
I've never had. I think we've all been depressed at certain times and experienced things, but to be to that level, it's something I can't even wrap my head around and comprehend.
Yeah.
I have no idea what. Obviously, you feel sad, but I have no idea how to make any sense of it at all.
Yeah, it's now. Did you know some of these guys, Chris and Chester? You must know Chester,
Yeah,
right?
I knew Chester a little bit. Here and there, we were cordial. Not. I wouldn't say great friend, but we were cordial, and I'd speak with him when I saw him, and you ran into these people at different shows throughout the years and whatnot, but just terrible. Troy Gentry.
Yeah,
he was a very good friend that just died in a helicopter crash. Very, very tragic. Heart just bled for him. It's just, man, it's been a tough couple. This year seemed better than last. Last year was the worst year of my life, and from what I talked to, a lot of people just had a terrible 2016.
Yeah,
and it seemed like 17 was picking up, and then man, they just keep dropping.
Yeah, well, let's talk about some lighter things.
Let's get out of here, please.
Let's get out of the darkness here. So, new record or what? What's going on?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you've been dropping some songs here and there.
I just wasn't sure what we wanted to do. I have more than an album cut of songs that I'm happy with, and we're gonna put something out at some point. We're just, I didn't know if I even wanted to put out a record. I'm like, does anyone care anymore? So let's just put out singles now and then. I'm just trying to do things a little differently since. Let's face it, I'm kind of getting to that age where it's, radio's not clamoring for a new Kid Rock song to play. And even if they were, I'm not going to do all the meet and greets and stuff that's required, to really take care of people to get your songs played. So, I play along at a certain level, but, as you get older, I'm just kind of floating into that, hopefully that Tom Petty, Bob Seger. I'm just going to throw some records out now and then, but I'm going to tour. And,
now, you told me before in the past, I don't know if this is talking out of school or what, but you said, this is my last record I'm going to do. And you've told me that a few times.
It's kind of. I
Just
think Billy
goes,
Joel does that. Didn't he say? Well, he goes, "I'm not making any more records." And obviously, I don't have anywhere near a catalog like Billy Joel does, or somebody like that. So, it's one of those things, I kind of struggle with. I'm always going to make music no matter what.
Right.
But
you're just one of those guys that always has to create. And since you got like a studio house and stuff, I'm sure you're probably in there all the time tinkering.
That's what I do. I go to work.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to work, I'm not doing positive things. And positive things. I'm out golfing, drinking, having a good time, traveling, taking friends to dinner. I guess they're positive in a certain light. It's not like 15 years ago anymore.
Well, that's true. But you know what? You talk about positive things, and man, you do so many positive things that people will never hear about, and it kind of bums me out when people are, taking his school, and it's like, you know what? That they don't know. They just don't know.
I feel like that too. I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder from, trying to do so many things to help so many people, and my city and my state and country for that matter out. And I don't ask for credit.
Right.
And a lot of things I try to keep quiet. I don't. Only things that I think if they might influence someone else to get involved is when we publicize it. Other than that, I just try to do it because it's the right thing to do. So, sometimes it is a little disheartening. That you do all this stuff and then people start attacking you, and God forbid the internet gets a hold of it. And, all these things spread like wildfire, and before you can even do any damage control, people are already believing whatever they read. So it's so out of control these days with the media and people thinking, oh, I have a voice. It's like, you do. It doesn't mean you deserve to be heard.
It's not a very good voice.
Or educated enough to even speak on a topic.
Yeah.
Or have you done any research at all? Like this story came out in the New York Post. The New York Post came out that I, said ha about Al Sharpton's daughter getting locked up, which I wouldn't do that. I have a son. I'll get in your ass quick, but, I got boundaries. And they didn't even research that the Twitter handle was, a fake one.
Right.
It wasn't mine. I'm
right.
like, a news reporter in the New York Post didn't even research. But by the time that we contact them and say, run a retraction or something, the damage has been done. It's
right.
already shot across the internet, and, for black people and people in that thing are like, oh, Kid Rock, he's saying terrible
stuff.
Like,
bell.
what the hell just happened here? Everybody calm the
You're right.
down.
I got you.
Take it easy.
Yeah, the internet does tend to run with things and go crazy on them. So you're thinking about the tour, thinking about the upcoming record. You got any titles floating around in your head for the album, or?
The new single I just dropped, the Countryfied thing, Tennessee Mountaintop. I have a line in there. I did this record in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's the first record I really did outside of Detroit. A lot of Born Free with Rick Rubin we cut in L.A., but I still worked on it a lot here. But so I like Sweet Southern Sugar right now. I'm not sure. But that's the one that's kind of sticking with me now, Sweet Southern Sugar, and we'll see what happens.
Speaking of Sweet Southern Sugar, this Sweet Tea Trio is pretty nice.
Yeah. 3 young ladies.
Are they going to play here in the bar every single
Yeah,
show?
every night we have a show. They'll be playing here at Made in Detroit. I don't know, is this place called a restaurant or bar and grill? Whatever.
I've been kind of calling it Kid Rock's Made in Detroit Bar and Grill. Now, I don't want to, purposely, brand your thing, but I don't know. It looks like a bar and grill
Feels
to me.
weird if I say, come on down to Kid Rock's Made in Detroit.
I saw you on stage last night. You're like, yeah, and they'll be in the restaurant up there.
Yeah. I wanted to call it Leroy's Thump House. And that didn't sit too well with corporate.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, every night they'll be up here playing. I mean, they're kind of like a young Dixie Chicks in terms of talent.
Yeah.
Three young ladies from Alabama who just sing their butts off, and especially in a space like this. I guess it went great last night. They're a lot of fun to see. So, if you're looking for something to do after, have a drink before you head out. The bar is going to stay open here every night until people leave. Until 2 in the morning or whatever.
Now, have you tried some of the food here?
I did.
You tried all of it, or?
It's awesome. There's absolutely nothing healthy on the menu, but it's freaking awesome. I was actually blown away. I mean, the people we did the restaurant with, Delaware North, they're the best in the business. They know what they're doing. So, I didn't expect any less, but I still was very surprised. My family came and ate here last night, and some friends, and they all said the same thing. So, making sure they didn't just make me the good stuff. And then,
well, I'm gonna try that. The ham trammick thing. It's got this potato pancake on it, and then the goulash. I'm a big goulash. I tried the hamburger last night. That's great.
My mom's recipe for the goulash. Did some stuff like that in her chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, I was like, man, don't mess with a Coney dog. I was like, you're not gonna outdo American or Lafayette or something. Just leave it alone. Don't church it up. They churched it up, and my manager Lee said, this is the best hot dog I ever had. I was like, wow, this is pretty damn good. I mean, I'm not going to go against a Coney dog any day of the week, but I got to say it was pretty damn good.
It was good last night, man, for sure. And
I wasn't even drinking. If you had 5 or 6 beers and you got that hot dog, you're in heaven.
Speaking of drinking, what's up with the badass beer? It's still clicking along, and
it's clicking along. It's not doing as well as we wanted it to do, and because it started out, and I'll be the first one to say when it started out, it sucked.
Yeah.
Well, it was good, but then we were having trouble keeping consistent beer, and we lost our brewer. This, that, and the other. So we were scrambling. So, when you start with something and it's inconsistent, and then you try it. Now we got a great brewer down here at Brew Detroit and a great master brewer. So, we're trying to get people to try the beer. Really I started it just to, try to create some jobs and get something going here, help people out in the city in and around Michigan. And also, I was a little pissed off when Budweiser and the big companies, they sold to the Belgians for $55 billion when we were in the Great Recession, when this country kind of needed them most, and it kind of pissed me off.
Right.
So I was like, I'll start a damn beer company and go after their asses. So we'll see. It's still chugging along. We still got faith. We just put it in Tennessee, so we're trying it there too, just Michigan and Tennessee. And, we'll see if people are warm to it and they want to try it again, they like it, we'll keep it going. And if not, we'll say thank you. We tried it, and we'll bow our heads gracefully and go away and support all the craft brewers that are going, because they're doing great stuff too.
You got some cool shirts and some cool logos on them, with the badass beer. So hey, you got that too.
We got the logo part down.
That's right.
We just got to get people to drink it now.
It's really cool. Hey, people may or may not know you're good friends with Robert O'Neill.
Very good friends. Yeah.
Hey,
just stood up in his wedding.
I was going to ask you about that because you told me that you were going to stand up. How'd that go? And by the way, he's the guy who shot Bin Laden's. People should know. You guys have become friends.
Yeah, really good friends. Funny story is we go to his now wife's his father-in-law's favorite bar, and they're great people, just Boston Irish Catholic. They love to get after it and have some drinks, and and so we go to this bar.
I know a guy like that.
Rob's got a lot of his teammates with him, SEAL guys, and they're basically trained killers. Very mellow, great guys. And we go to this bar, and someone starts screwing with me right off the bat, and I'm like, oh.
Here we go.
This is perfect. I'm like, why can't I have these guys with me every time someone starts messing with me in a bar? So there's some funny stories from there. Yeah, it was a great time, man. A really beautiful wedding.
Yeah, you do a lot for the service. I met a guy here in the bar last night who apparently I put on the radio, and he was in Kuwait, and he wanted to say Merry Christmas to his family. And I guess his brother goes, dude, that's Meltdown over there. You should go talk to him. And it's like, I know you're a big service. When was the last time you did something for the servicemen?
I mean, we're always raising money at this point. I don't travel as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I think, with the younger generation, they want to see someone else than Grandpa here singing Born Free.
That's right, Grandpa. I forgot about that. Yeah, I see your little daughter on the
granddaughter.
Junior's thing there.
Yeah, she's actually up here staying with me right now. It's beautiful. It's driving around in the golf cart this morning. We saw some turkeys and fed the fish. Yeah, she's just a joy.
Yeah, how's that changed your life?
It's great.
Yeah.
I get to like load her up with cookies and Mountain Dew and send her home. Be the good guy.
You know, people may not know this about you, but you're like one of these early riser guys. You like to get up and get up before the sun comes up. And
Yeah, I'm usually. I mean, I got to start switching that around with these shows.
yeah,
Because we played a few out west, and I'm used to getting up at between 6:30, and out west with the time change. I remember was it last year, the year before, we were playing Sturgis, and something happened. Dude drove his motorcycle off the stage and almost killed himself. Then like a monster storm came through, and they had to keep postponing. We didn't go on stage till, I don't know, 2 in the morning. That's like 5 in the morning. Like,
Right.
I'm getting ready to wake up. And like I said, Grandpa here was having trouble.
yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah, by the way, speaking of motorcycles, I don't know if you heard James Hetfield. We talked about his motorcycle when he wrecked your fence.
Yeah, he's prone to accidents. Yeah, James. Yeah, he did. I wasn't even home, and he asked if he could use the dirt bike track out the studio. I said, of course, and I guess he hit this 80-foot tabletop that I got and landed on the fence and almost messed himself up pretty bad. And another time we were wakeboarding years ago in Atlanta, and he was always warning me, excuse me, about hanging out with Lars. Because me and Lars are old, good friends. And
Right.
he'd say, you got to be careful, man. He's nuts. And, you'll be, he said, were you guys, after the Millennium Show, he's like, did I hear you guys were riding your snowmobile around with no shirts on last night after drinking? I was like, maybe. He's like, dude, you got to be careful. He's like, Lars, you'll drive through a fence, he'll be fine, and you'll be dead. Because I'm just telling you his luck. And then every time, a few times I've been with Hetfield, he's the one that's got hurt.
Yeah, Lars just got knighted. Did you text him about
No,
that?
I didn't. Did he?
Oh,
really?
he got knighted like in Denmark
He's got
or
the
something.
Danish. Yeah, he's the Danish badass, man.
Yeah. Dude, they were awesome across the street, by the way.
Yeah, I wish I could have came down and saw him.
Yeah.
Because I actually saw Mixmaster Mike. He's a buddy of mine, and he was opening the show, and he's telling me scratching like just heavy metal records. I was like,
dude, it was awesome. Yes, like Slayer. And I talked to him, and he gave me some tips, and I talked to him. He's like, oh man, my
He's
go-to
like, I'm like
is
cutting
Slayer.
up Lamb of God records
Yeah, right.
and stuff. I'm like, dude, that's awesome.
That's really cool. So, well, listen, man, I really want to thank you for your time. I know you got a sound check
Yep.
coming up here in just a few minutes, and I really appreciate you talking to Riff. And, I'm just going to tell everybody out there that, between you and your family, and I mean this sincerely, all you guys have always been so great to me and everyone I've seen. And you know what? You're just raised well by a great family and a good guy. And it's like, I just want to put that out there. Because
thank
apparently,
you for blowing my image.
apparently the
this
news doesn't know that.
I had this American badass thing working for me for a while, and you just screwed it all up.
Listen, he's
I
got to get on
appreciate
stage
that.
and get
Thank
off
you.
at 11 because you got to wake up at 6.
There you go. Thanks, Meltdown.
Kid Rock right here on 101 The Riff.